Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss the concept of liabilities and incomes. So let us discuss liabilities first. Let us discuss the liabilities first. So what are liabilities? Liabilities are any amount that the business owes to an outsider. So liability is any amount that the business owes to an outsider. Now what do we mean by it? Let's see by using an example. Say we have two friends, one is A and other one is B, and B needs some money. B needs money right now, but he does not have any money in his pocket. He needs money, and A has some spare money in his pocket. So B goes and asks A, listen A, will you be able to lend me some money? I need it right now. So A said that okay, I will lend it to you. So finally A lends rupees say 1000 to B, and B takes the money and uses it. But what happens in this transaction? B gets cash rupees 1000, but at the same time there is a compulsion on B now. to repay A rupees 1000, to repay A an amount equal to 1000. What is that compulsion or obligation called? B is now obligated to pay A rupees 1000. This obligation is nothing but a liability. So B gets cash rupees 1000 and also incurs a liability for rupees 1000. So this amount of rupees 1000 which B borrowed from A has to be repaid in future. So any amount, so let us come to the concept now. Any amount that is given to the business by outsiders, any amount that is given to the business by outsiders. Outsider means any person outside the business, out of the business. Any amount given to the business by outsiders or others which is liable to be returned, I will not use the word liable, which is say required to be returned, to be repaid, let me say repaid in future, which is required to be repaid in future, is called a liability. So liability in simple words is any amount which the business owes to the outsiders. Say a business has taken some amount from an outsider as a loan or as an advance payment, and it needs to return that amount in future. It would be a liability. What are examples of liabilities? Examples are loans, capital. Capital is also a liability. I have said this before also. Capital is also a liability because it has been invested by the owner of the business, and the owner of the business and the business are different entities. So, and the owner is also by some means an outsider, because business and owner are separate entities as per the entity concept. So examples are loans, capital, etc. Say etc. Now let us come to one more example where this example would be a little critical. Let us say, let us change the color. Now let us say we have two friends A and B, where B is a singer and A asks B to sing at his wedding. A asks B to sing at its wedding, where A promises to pay B rupees 10,000 for the same. Let me tell you again. A and B are two friends where B is a singer and A asks B to sing at his wedding, where he would pay him rupees 10,000 for that. But A instead of paying B after the wedding, he pays the money instantly. So let's say today is 20th of June 2016 and the wedding day is say after 1 month. No, let's say it is after the end of July, so it is 31st July 2016. So today, on this day, A is asking B to sing for his wedding and he promises to pay rupees 10,000, and say he pays rupees 10,000 in advance. Today itself he pays rupees 10,000 in advance and B has to sing on this day. Sing on this day. So what happens to B? B receives rupees 10,000. B receives rupees 10,000. So is this an income for B? At this on this date, is this 10,000 an income for B? Is it an income? Has the activity for which the income is to be received yet performed? Has B sung on A's wedding on this date? No, he has not sung A's wedding on this date. So the amount received by him is actually not earned by B yet. It is not earned by B yet. It is due to be earned on the day when B actually sings on A's wedding. So the revenue or the income will only be recognized when the service is given. Service is liable to be given on 31st July, but the amount is received in advance. So this amount, as on this date, this amount would be an advance for services. This amount on this day would be an advance for services, and this amount would not be the income of B. It would be a liability for B because B has not yet sung at A's wedding. So and he is receiving the amount in advance. So till he sings at A's wedding, that is till 31st, that is up to 30th, up to 37/16, this amount that he has received as an advance will be a liability. Because if by chance A changes his mind, and asks B or refuses the offer, then B is liable to repay this amount to A. So it would not be recognized as an income of B until he earns it actually by singing the song on the day of the wedding. So amount received in advance would actually be a liability. On the contrary, if B say this day has come, this day, that is 31st of July 2016, and there is a grand wedding program where A is getting married. This day has actually come and B dresses up well and arrives at the venue and sings a wonderful song, and finally A is happy. At that point, at that moment, B can recognize this amount as his income because he has performed the service, and after performance of service this 10,000 will no longer be a liability. It will then be converted into an income. So from this discussion, let us derive the meaning of what an income is. An income is any amount earned by the business, earned by the business. And this amount, unlike the liability, is not liable to be repaid. It is not required to be repaid. I'll not write the word liable, it seems odd. It is not required, it is not required to be repaid. It is an income of the business. It is actually earned by the business, and this may be by this earning can come by, say, providing any services, like B did in the case of singing. Providing any services, or selling of goods, or in any other manner, providing consultancy, or there may be many other ways of earning income. So others, let me write others. So this was the concept and difference between liabilities and incomes. I hope you understood what was being discussed in this video. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe the channel to stay updated about future videos.